All right, YouTube. Casey's out today. It's me and Jack and Katie, and we're talking football. We're talking upsets. We're talking all kind of stuff. Like
everything.
Subscribe. Enjoy. Comment for the algo. Do everything. Have fun. Watch.
Comment your upset for the week.
Do that. Hi. Welcome to Unnecessary Roughness Barstool's college football podcast. Jack and Katie, tell them about High Noon.
It's very infuriating sitting here and being so close to the tangerine, but being sworn to not open it and touch it because this is the last pack in the office, the Prez pack. We've all heard Casey and I talk about the peach. I think everyone likes it. So to know that there's a flavor out there that I am touching right now and I can't drink it because we need it for ads is infuriating. Though I think in Ann Arbor, there's going to be some flowing, and I'm very excited to try some tangerine.
Yeah, shout out to High Noon. I mean, what else is there to say about it? They've taken over the world, and we are happy to be with them. And my favorite flavor is all of them. So shout out to High Noon. I've still not had the tangerine, but High Noon, I love you even if I never have the tangerine. That's how much I like High Noon.
You can have it room temperature, cold. It tastes good any day of the week. Brandon.
Okay, here we go. We've got college football. College football to talk about. Casey Smith not here because, as it turns out, and I know this from experience, when you have a kid, things don't always go to plan. And there's a doctor's visit involved. It just, that's all it is. Got a little sick little boy and taking care of him. Otherwise, everything all good. So me, Jack, and Katie will take you home on this show as we talk about college football. We have a new playoff ranking. We have the penultimate week of college football this season. Only, Jack, I swear to God, man, you wait all year. You wait all year for this to start. You wait all summer. You watch YouTube highlights. You buy the magazines. Then it starts. On Labor Day weekend, it starts. And then 5 seconds later, we're at the end of the season. That's where we are right now. Two weekends left. Not a great weekend of football here, but decent enough. And Katie, do y'all think does it feel like it flies by to y'all too?
It's been so fast. I thought when we hit week 10, that was when I first realized it, just like the double digits.
Yeah.
It's almost over.
It is almost over. Again, this is historically, Jack, the week that the SEC kind of takes off. I don't think they're taking it off as much as they usually do because you do have Tennessee, Georgia, you got Missouri, Florida. You got a couple games out there. But most SEC teams are playing, your Southern Misses, your Middle Tennessee States, your whoever LSU is playing. Most teams are kind of taking it off. A lot of people don't like that. I don't mind it because I'm a drooling homer for the SEC.
Yeah, and, I mean, they play other games earlier in the year as well. Let's not.
So what's the difference? So when everybody gets mad at the SEC for doing this in November, what's the difference in playing Middle Tennessee in November as opposed to playing them in the third week of September? Because that's what every other conference does. Like that, to me, it's not this moral outrage that, oh my God, they're taking the week before rivalry week to recharge and get ready. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, no, there's always the moral outrage this week. People are like, look at the SEC. It's just it's kind of like when there's somebody that's really good at their job or really attractive or whatnot, like on top of the world, people want to point at one thing. It's like, oh, this guy's really good at football, but have you seen that he hasn't talked about the Israel-Palestine conflict? It's like, come on, guys. He's the best player in football. Why are you trying to take away from that?
I just got the most disappointing news of all time. It's okay. I'm not going to.
Oh, did somebody say no to the job?
No, we don't have. What? No, we don't have. Okay, in this office today, we're having a puppy event. Paul's is bringing some puppies, and I put somebody on the inside and said, "Hey, make sure you come in here because I'm going to be doing the show. Bring me a puppy during the show so I can hold it and do the show." They're only bringing 2 puppies. So we're not going to.
Life's so hard.
There's not going to be a puppy on the
Chicago
show.
office.
Are you telling me you didn't want a puppy on the show?
No, I saw, I think someone from the original Chicago crew tweeted out the puppy paws party. And in the meantime, there's massive drilling. So I was just like, congrats. Chicago's awesome.
I didn't say, you New York people, Jack, you're the only one that's funny about it, by the way. Everybody else is.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jack's.
I will say I would have. Did you guys have the go-kart race?
No, but we're getting the go-karts. I did have a fake life moment this morning. I got here I got here at 8:00, and I always shoot some basketball and I take some. And then I hit the golf simulator. I hit some drives. This morning, a guy was working on it, and I caught myself in my mind. I'm like, it was 8:15. I was like, God damn it, man, get out of the way so I can hit some drives, man. I'm
like, what a life. Dude. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's a fake life.
Yeah,
100%.
I was just like the spoiled kid inside of me is like, come on, man, hurry the fuck up so I can hit some drives.
Were they like essentially just doing updates or something?
Yeah, they were just like, I think they were just hiding some cable. There were some cables that connected to the wall. They were just hiding them. They were just.
Okay, yeah.
They were doing stuff like
How's
that.
How's the jump shot?
But they had it open. They had it open and all that, and I was like, get out of the way so I can play.
How's the jump shot?
Jump shot is coming. Thank you, Jack, for asking that. Jump shot is coming along. These 24-year-olds here, they can just walk out there and play. It's coming along better and better every single day. It's getting where it needs to be. I triggered something today where I figured out my mechanism again. So it's coming along good. Thank you very much for asking.
And you had a jump shot back in the day.
I'm a terrific. I believe I'm still the best shooter here, but right now I am not that guy. So I got to find that guy again.
How many free throws did you make out of the 20?
This morning I made 16.
Wow. That's actually.
I think his record 17.
17 is my record. Yeah. Let's see. All right. So last night the playoff committee got together once again, gave us their top 25. Again, there's so much chaos in front of us. There's so much real estate to cover in front of us. There's nothing really groundbreaking here other than the fact the committee for the first time this year is acknowledging, hey, Georgia's the best team in the country. They jump Ohio State for number one after beating Ole Miss 52-17. And there's two things about this. Jack, I believe Georgia is the best team in the country right now, and I commend the committee for putting them number one. However, part of me wants to say, boy, the committee has no flair for the dramatics. Just go ahead and put Ohio State and Michigan 1 and 2 and have that game next week and figure out the rankings from there. Like, they have no flair for the making it as big as possible. That being said, I think they're right. Georgia's the best team in the country, should be number one, in my opinion. Jack, do you agree or disagree?
I agree. I think they are the best team. I think they proved it last weekend for a perspective of, resume, what you do on the field matters, not just projection. And beating Ole Miss the way they did. I didn't even realize Ole Miss brought their little basketball hoop to Georgia and then lost by, 30 points? I mean, that's pathetic. All that being said, Georgia reminded everyone this weekend, and the committee took notice. That being said, they were probably, if they make the playoff, they were probably going to end up number one. Unless, I guess, Ohio State could beat Michigan by 50 points. That's possible.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but
there's so much right now. I remember a few years ago when Cincinnati was number 8 in the first playoff ranking, and I said they're going to make the playoff. People said I was crazy. I said, look around. Look around. There's so many teams that are going to lose and so many things that can happen. There's so much left to happen. Like Oregon and Washington right now are 5 and 6. Not in that order. Washington's 5, Oregon 6, I believe. Michigan and Ohio State are going to play. One of them is going to drop out. Georgia's going to play Alabama, which either solidifies Georgia at the top and takes Alabama out of the mix, or it brings another team into the mix. Oregon and Washington. Washington's got Oregon State and Washington State. Oregon's got Oregon State next week. Like there's just the top 4 right now is so meaningless because the only teams right now that I believe can breathe easy and just take care of business, just take care of business as usual and be fine, is probably Florida State. And you say that with Georgia and Michigan, but Michigan has to beat Ohio State. That's not business as usual. Georgia's going to have to beat Alabama. Like that's two massive things. Florida State is on the downslope. All they got to do is make sure the wheels don't come off the car. They should be fine. A lot to go, but I do like Georgia number 1 because I think they proved last week they're the best.
Florida State's 99.999% fine. If they went out.
I just have. There is a doomsday scenario. Is there a doomsday scenario that has 5 undefeated teams? Am I crazy? All right, Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Florida State, right?
Yeah.
There's no doomsday scenario that knocks them out, correct?
Well, I guess you could say the doomsday scenario, I guess, for Florida State would be
losing a game.
Yes, but could you theoretically put Texas, Alabama, Michigan, Oregon over an undefeated? Probably not, right? Because that would be 3 teams with a loss.
Yeah, I just can't. I just can't really fathom. The only way I see a undefeated Power 5 champ staying out is if there are 5 undefeated Power 5 champs, right? Like if you go undefeated and win your conference, I think that's as in can get. You don't worry about the power of the conference. You don't worry about the strength. You don't worry about the wins. If Florida State goes 13-0, they are in the playoff. Period. End of sentence. Let's move on and discuss the other teams. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any world now. Georgia, there's some seeding to be done. Like Alabama beating Georgia and Alabama finishing strong and beating the number 1 team. Do they now become the 3 seed and Florida State the 4 seed? I could have that discussion with you, but I don't know that there's any world where a one-loss Texas who lost to an average Oklahoma would belong over an undefeated Florida State. That's just my thoughts.
No, I think you're 100% right. I said 99.999. It's 100%. If they win, they're in.
I think there's an interesting job that just came open. Obviously, we have Mississippi State, we have A&M, we have Michigan State. Who knows what's coming? Is Arkansas coming? Is Baylor coming? And I know I'm missing a couple, so forgive me. But Boise State just came open too. And I got to bear with me. I got a thought exercise here, Jack. If 10 years ago the Pac-12 disintegrated like it just disintegrated, wouldn't Oregon State and Washington State have gone next door, picked up Boise State, and started and rebuilt a conference like that? Don't you think Boise State would have been like a fail-safe where they bring them in and start building around that? But now it's not so much because they're not that dude anymore?
Yeah. I don't know how valuable of a brand Boise State is.
Yeah. It's not that valuable, but its value certainly peaked 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was a hell of a program 10 years ago. What it's done is phenomenal. Now you were talking about the Boise State franchise, obviously program, but franchise kind of falling a year or two ago. And I mean, it's looking that way. They're in a tough spot. I'm not saying they're finished, but yeah. And especially not getting picked up. If you're at your peak, you kind of want to, it's almost like, if I'm at my peak of my job or I'm in my free agent year, I want to get picked up. And if you don't, and you're kind of stuck with that same contract, you're overperforming, but what's that get you? Being in the Mountain West and then bringing in Oregon State and Washington State isn't that in the world, but I'm sure Boise State had serious expectations. Or I think they thought they were going to end up in the Pac-12.
So they're open, and the reason I think they're fascinating is I think Mississippi State will hire a young coach like a John Summerall, maybe Willie Fritz at Tulane, who's not young. Texas A&M will hire Dabo Swinney. But then other teams like Boise State has 2 options to run it back, right? They could run it back with Brian Harsin, who was doing better than Andy Avalos, or Chris Peterson still exists. Like, is he still young? He's still young enough in his life where we can still discuss him coming back to college football, correct?
Yeah, no, and maybe he would want the Boise State job where it's
low pressure.
Obviously, you're kind of risking your legacy, quote unquote, but maybe he would want to say, hey, I know what works there. Obviously, the NIL era is a little bit different, but he's a god there. And maybe he just says, you know what, let's just run it back. I like the stress, but I don't want a high-stress job of a – it's interesting. You think Texas A&M calls Chris Peterson?
It's weird. He's only ever been on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Does UCLA call Chris Peterson?
That's another
I think that's
Chris Peterson was a guy that's been talked about a lot, but for the past few years we kind of forgot about him. He's also young. And when he left Washington, I think it was pretty clear he just wanted essentially a sabbatical, and then that he wanted to eventually come back.
UCLA makes a lot of sense for him if they're trying to get serious about going to the Big Ten. And Chris Peterson is a program builder. I mean, that's a name that I would if I'm A&M, I don't know if I do it because he's never gotten off that West Coast. But if I'm UCLA, he's the first call I make.
What a weird situation UCLA has right now.
Like they're not a bad football team at all,
and
yeah,
they're essentially saying, we're gonna fire you after the USC game.
Is that them being kind to him and kind to the staff to be like, hey, start prepping for this? Or is it everyone on the field is going to know Chip Kelly is a walking dead man and it's embarrassing for him to go out there because people know?
I don't even know, man. That the whole job, like I Jack called it last week on the show or last time on the show, and he was like, hey, they're about to fire him. And I said, I really paused. I was like, I thought he was doing fine. But he's one of these guys that are getting the reputation, and it pisses me off. Dan Mullen has it. Chip Kelly has it. They don't recruit. They don't like to recruit. Well, he's got some pretty good-ass players. For somebody who doesn't like to recruit, goddamn, he's got some pretty good-ass players. He got a 5-star quarterback named Dante Moore. For somebody who can't recruit, doesn't recruit, where are all the good players coming from? Like, I don't understand these fan bases that make up their minds, this guy can't recruit, that guy can't recruit. They just, like, believe their rivals' hype. Like, Florida, Dan Mullen's last 3 classes at Florida were, like, 12, 9, and 9. They were top 12 classes. Ever since he left, this guy, Napier, like 12, 9, and 8 or something. He's only got 2 classes, but 12 and 8. Now, he has a big one this year, but they're all going to decommit. I just think when fans decide recruiting is the be-all, end-all, recruiting rankings are the be-all, end-all, it leads to questionable decisions, weird decisions like this. Jack, that's why they're firing him, right? Recruiting?
I would assume so. And then also, if I'm looking at Chip Kelly, the number one knock was always, oh, hey, what happened? What his defense?
Yeah.
This year they have one of the best defenses in the country.
They have the best defense in the Pac-12.
Yeah, and they can't score, which obviously is a little bit like you kind of raise your eyebrow at it. But UCLA, you look at Chip Kelly in his past, he's going to find a way to score. You know, he's going to find a way to figure that out. And if you're projecting it, you have this 5-star quarterback who obviously maybe he was NIL, but he must like Chip Kelly in his projection. So maybe you just kind of keep it rolling. But I guess if you're going to the Big Ten, you think, let's have a fresh start. I think that's the bigger situation here. This is the Big Ten move.
Yeah. Is it also, look at Lincoln Riley and USC. Everyone's talking about them. Like, you were shocked that Chip Kelly was even on the hot seat. No one's talking about UCLA this year. Like, all the clips I've put out, completely bombed. I feel like no one cares about UCLA football right now.
No one's ever really cared about them, though. When's
but
the last time?
People didn't care about USC until Lincoln Riley.
Recently. They did though because we were wondering why they were losing. Why, like when UCLA goes 7-5, it's no story. When USC goes 7-5, it's who's the next coach and stuff like that. I guess the last time probably UCLA like '98 when they were one game away from playing for a national title.
Yeah, and Josh Rosen kind of had a little bit of a run there. I mean,
remember that?
They had Jim
remember that
Mora
comeback?
with
remember that comeback against A&M?
Yeah, like that's one of the greatest games in the past 10 years.
If you want to go to a great game, I got just the idea for you. I was looking.
Yes.
I was looking today, dude. Not only does Chicago have great things coming through it, it has the basketball tournaments. Like last night was a Champions Classic. Has these huge games. You got bowl season coming up. That's not really Chicago specific, but I got WWE Survivor Series coming here. I got AEW coming here.
Really?
I got a Tim McGraw concert in April. I got so many things I'm going to need to go to. You need to use Game Time when you get in a situation like that. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, the music, the comedy, and theater events near you. Last-minute tickets, flash deals, they got zone deals, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats. If you wake up on Saturday and you say, I don't have tickets to this game, but I really wish I were going, download Game Time, check Game Time. You're going to find the lowest price guaranteed on those late tickets. They've cracked the code on how to do that. Check it out. Find exclusive flash deals, sponsor deals for tickets on football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With zone deals, here's how that works. You pick the section. Game Time picks the seats for an average of 18% savings. And the game time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today. Create an account. Use code, Katie?
Ruff.
For $20 off your first purchase.
Jack says.
Yeah, rough.
Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code RUFF for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right. I think we just get right into the games because we're in a news cycle where we're entering the coaching carousel, but we're not fully into it. We'll start hiring probably next week, the end of next week. We got rivalry week. Casey's off with the baby, so let's just get right into the games. I look at the schedule. You got number 22 Utah at number 17 Arizona. I think that's fascinating. I think Arizona is a very good team. Georgia's at Tennessee. Georgia just goes to number 1. They destroy Ole Miss at home. They beat Missouri at home. Now they got to go on the road for their last road test of the season in Knoxville. I don't know how hype Tennessee is about it. Jack, what do you get the sense? What do you put Tennessee's ability to make Georgia sweat on Saturday at? Oh, my God.
Low, however.
Jack, I'm sorry. Just for a second, Jack. Just for a second.
Oh, the puppy.
Oh, Megan.
That's Megan.
If it pees on him, I'm laughing.
I got him. Hey, girl.
No, I think it's just like
What's
probably to
Moana?
identify him.
Alana. Oh, my goodness.
Alana Morissette.
I love Alana. She's scared.
Oh.
She's scared. A lot of people.
No, she's having a great time.
Is she?
Birdie, yeah.
How many did y'all bring?
Just the 2.
Just
That's
2?
why I stole half of the popcorn.
Why is that barnyard animal?
For those listening on audio, Brandon has a beautiful puppy on his lap right now. The dog looks a little tired.
Yeah. Well,
but comfortable.
There's a lot of activity going on. All right. Here, Megan. Thank you, Megan.
That's like the most calm puppy I've ever seen.
Yeah, very calm.
He just wants
puppy.
to sleep.
Very calm puppy. Thank you, Megan.
I can imagine the office is probably like a puppy heaven. There's concrete floors everywhere, basketball court. Just throw a ball and run after.
Don't close the door or anything. Cheese and rice. That was fun. I asked her to bring a puppy in. I thought it would. I thought she would bring it in and leave, but she didn't. So now my door's wide open and I'm sitting here. Go ahead, Jack. You were talking about Georgia, Tennessee.
I think it's low, however, from a upset perspective. That being said, if you are Josh Heupel, this is a very easy situation to hype your guys up. This is your Super Bowl. You want to do something special? This is your chance. All eyes on you. We're at home. Hey, this season hasn't gone as planned, but if we win this one, everything's fine.
Season saved.
It does feel. It feels like Georgia is getting into position to be the big dog again. However, their lone struggle, their biggest struggle this year was when they went on the road to Auburn. Auburn's not very good. Tennessee's a much better football team than Auburn. Tennessee is a bigger stadium than Auburn. I'm not going to say it's a tougher place to play, but it's as tough a place to play. And if you're Josh Heupel, you had your big breakthrough last year. You almost made the playoff. Hendon Hooker got hurt. You ended up going 10-2, but you had a great year. You won the Orange Bowl, and you made your big statement by beating Alabama at home. This year, you're not quite as good. You're good. Tennessee's good, but they're not great.
Yeah.
They're not great like they were last year. Joe Milton's inconsistent. They can run the football. Their defense is better. But what better way to really solidify your program going in the right direction to just put a massive, massive, massive win on the board here, break Georgia's heart at home. I think this is a sneaky, tougher spot for Georgia than people think it is.
Yeah, no, this is a tough spot, especially we know that. Here's the thing, how excited are Tennessee fans going to be? I think if they go up 7-0 in the first quarter, they'll get excited.
Yeah.
And it's, this weekend, like, kids are still at school. Not that really would be an issue if it was that last weekend of the year, because Tennessee has so many in-state students, they would still go to the game. But it will still be a big game. I think, no, it won't be their last home game of the year.
You're close. It's their last big game. It's their last big game of the year.
So Georgia has to be careful, and I'm sure Kirby's saying that.
Yeah.
This is the same guy that propagandized them into thinking they were going to go 7-5.
Yeah, lied is what you're saying. Lied.
You do what you gotta do, though.
Yeah. All right. Here's your games. Utah, Arizona. You got Georgia at Tennessee. Number 19, North Carolina is at Clemson. And
Wait, so are you taking Tennessee to cover? Or
I don't know that I'm taking. I think it's a dangerous spot for Georgia. I'll probably make that decision on Saturday.
Fair.
The fact that we all have come to this consensus, Georgia just destroys Ole Miss last week. I don't think Ole Miss is all that good. I think they're going to go 10-2, like they're good, but I don't think they're all that good. I think Tennessee's just as good as Ole Miss, and it's on the road. And the one time we saw Georgia really struggle this year was on the road. I think this is a really tricky spot. North Carolina's at Clemson. UCLA is at USC. Big, long road trip there. Oregon at Arizona State. Kansas State at Kansas. Washington at Oregon State. Texas at Iowa State. Now, we can talk about any game that you'd like to out of that list, but which one sticks out to me? Obviously, Washington and Oregon State. Like, Washington is number 5 in the playoff poll. Number 5 is actually number 4 right now because somebody up in front of them is guaranteed to take a loss. However, everything's been great for them. They're undefeated. It's perfect. And now they go to a tough, dangerous place in Oregon State, who's right on the cusp of the side. They might be top 10. I think, what are they, number 10? This is
11.
This is hell for Washington fans. Like, you've got everything in front of you, and now you got to go to Oregon State. That would scare the shit out of me, Jack.
This is the game of the weekend, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially with Kansas losing last week and Kansas State kind of losing its luster. But this game is a difficult one. There's also some other sneaky ones not too far away. But Washington, Oregon State, this is the one I'm most excited for. Oregon State is
good.
A very good team. We know they're good.
Yeah.
We know they're good, and then we know Washington's good. And, I mean, Oregon State's favored. Washington's an underdog here. So that shows you all you need to know about this game. And this is the game of the evening we will be watching. It's the game I would want to go to. Obviously, we'll get to our categories. But this game, huge game for DJ. This is a spot for Penix to kind of take back the Heisman.
Yeah, no, it really is. I don't know if he takes it back, but it certainly gets him very much in that mix, leading to a Heisman showdown in a couple of weeks. And it solidified. They win this game, they're playing for a Pac-12 championship, right? They haven't solidified that yet. So it's gigantic for Washington, but it's also gigantic for Oregon State. Just imagine. I said it the other day. I'll say it again. USC's leaving. UCLA's leaving. Washington's leaving. Oregon's leaving. They're all going to the Big Ten. They're all going and getting all that money. They're leaving behind two little orphans, Washington State and Oregon State. And here we are, two teams in the Pac-12 that can win the national title, Oregon and Washington. And who do they have to play the last 2 weeks? Oregon State. Listen, you can't write a script better than that. Oregon State has a chance to fuck both of them on their way out, and it would be hilarious if it happened.
It really would be. And yeah, no, I would think the funniest scenario would be next weekend.
Yeah,
where Oregon State and Washington State both beat and kind of knock them out. And then they kind of – that being said, Oregon State's going to do everything they can this week to win. And then next week, obviously, is more than a civil war.
By the way, what happened to – also, I think you just – hold on. Time out. Everybody relax. Jack just did it.
What?
He just did it. He just named the rivalry used to be the Civil War. Well, now it's no longer the Civil War because we're a bunch of pussies in this country and we can't say words because we think they scare everybody. So it's no longer the Civil War, but Jack just named it. This will be more than the Civil War. That should be the name of the fucking rivalry from here on out. Not that they're even going to play that much. What?
No, what did they rename it?
Nothing.
Huh?
What are you having trouble with?
So just Oregon versus Oregon State?
They didn't rename it. They just,
I don't think they renamed it either.
Yeah.
That's West Coast.
We're naming it right now.
Also,
more than the Civil War. Done.
You said earlier that if Washington wins, they'll be undefeated and they'll jump someone. Do you think that, say, Washington continues on having really sloppy, bad wins,
sure,
very close, and then Michigan, Ohio State is like double overtime, really, really close.
Yeah.
You still think that Washington's going to jump the loser regardless.
Regardless, yes. Regardless.
Okay.
Because
Eyeball test, though. in my opinion.
because first of all, no, it's a good question. First of all, they're done with the ability. They're done with sloppy wins that would look unimpressive. Like if you beat Arizona State and Stanford in a sloppy win, that's unimpressive. Nobody cares what it looks like if you beat Oregon State on the road. Nobody cares. You can win that game 4-2, and you're fine. Washington State's a rivalry game, and then they play Oregon in the Pac-12 title game. If they win those 3 games, they're in. They would have 2 wins over Oregon. They'd have a win over a top 10 Oregon State. They are in. So, yes, the line – and it's the same thing I said with Florida State. Undefeated Power 5 champ is in regardless. But Washington, if they were undefeated Power 5 champ, would have a hell of a resume on top of it.
No, fair point.
All right, let's get to our categories. Before we get to our categories, Roback, RHOBACK.com. They have the best hoodies, the best joggers, the best polos, the best long sleeve tees, and now they have the best fleeces. They are in the fleece game, ladies and gentlemen. Their quality is top notch, and they have unofficially become our official game day attire. If you are a football fan, you wear Roback. It is that simple. Their performance polos, hoodies, and joggers are simply the best, and now that it's starting to get cooler, it's great timing to check out their brand new performance crews and fleeces. The crews are breathable, yet so soft and comfortable. The fleeces will keep you comfortable all winter. Both are perfect for a crisp morning while you're on the move or having a relaxing Saturday watching college football. Roback's performance joggers are our go-to joggers. They're made to move in and are incredibly comfortable. We refuse to take these things off, and you will too. They're just that comfortable. I'm wearing a Barstool thing today, but I wear Roback hoodies pretty much 80 to 90% of my life. They're the best hoodies in the world. I love them. They're soft, they're breathable, they're light, they're heavy at the same time. I love my Roback hoodies. I love my joggers. I love them all.
You were literally wearing it before. I bullied you into taking it off so you could
Correct.
show off some
You
Yak merch. But
you said put on
great.
put on the Yak merch. Use code RUFF on Roback.com for 20% off your first purchase through the end of the week. That's RHOBACK.com. 20% off all hoodies, crews, fleeces, and more with code RUFF. Make sure to check them out now, and you'll be ready for the holidays. Okay, Katie's stats.
Mm-hmm.
You're leading off today. Okay.
You're not worried I'm going to take yours?
You know what? It is whatever.
It is what it is.
Actually, on this topic, I think we might all have the same one. If you could go anywhere,
I don't think so.
If you could go anywhere in the country this weekend to watch a football game, Katie, where would you go?
I'm going to homer for the first time. I want to go
God.
to UNC Clemson. I know Clemson's not the same. No, did I? You just sighed.
No, I sighed because I have a take that I should have launched earlier, and I want to. I'm going to launch it after you get done with this take.
Okay, fair. I'm interested, even though I know Clemson's not usual Clemson. I don't care if Clemson is 1-8. If we beat them, I'm really proud, really excited. But also, it's kind of like house's money. It is still kind of Clemson. Yes, I'm looking at it from both sides. I want to beat Clemson and beat Dabo, and I'm very excited. Plus, that's all Death Valley. I've never been.
I think that says a lot about Clemson, and I think you're right. That even though they're 6-4 now, they're not what they have been. They've dominated that conference to such a degree and been so good that beating them still feels good, still matters.
It's the opposite of Missouri.
Oh, that's a good point. I don't mind that. Yeah. But the beating them still holds some weight and everything. Now, the take I was going to launch, the more I think about it, guys, I need Dabo Swinney to leave Clemson and go to Texas A&M. I think it would be the funniest possible – it would be the funniest thing in college football. If Dabo, who built up Clemson from nothing, if Dabo, who gave them 2 national champs, if Dabo went from a place who doesn't appreciate him and questions him and goes to a place that will absolutely build a cult behind him immediately, Dabo to Texas A&M is the perfect fit in college football, and I want it to happen. And I'm glad Casey's not here to say, well, no, we all deserve Dabo Swinney at Texas A&M.
Do you think that he'll get the Lincoln Riley treatment? That would Clemson fans see him anywhere else? I know probably initially they're all mad at him, but big picture, are they going to accept him anywhere but Clemson?
I think it wouldn't be as bad as Lincoln Riley because Clemson are not as obsessive dipshits as Oklahoma fans. I mean, that's just a fan base of people that are warped in the head about Oklahoma football. Clemson is a cult, but their cult is around Dabo. I think when Dabo left, there would be a 6-month period where they hated everything about him. But ultimately, you shake his hand, you acknowledge, You put us on the map again. You won us 2 national titles. Go do you, big guy. At first, it wouldn't be like that, but 6 months. Now, we didn't talk about this video, Jack. We're 3 years later, and we have the video of the Oklahoma Sooner woman going to Eugene, Oregon, and the tunnel and being like, Boomer Sooner, all that shit. Like, get the fuck over it, dude.
Wait, I thought that was current. Like that just happened this weekend. Or you just
Right,
saying?
it did. It's 3 years
Rent-free.
after. It's 2
okay.
years after he left.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, that was insanity. It was so just, and Oklahoma fans ate it up. They were like, "Oh my God, this is so funny." I don't know. He was running after a loss and said, "Boomer Sooner, bitch."
Yeah.
It's like,
no, they like cursed
what
at him.
what are they gonna? Oklahoma fans saying that. Who's even won the breakup? You guys haven't won it.
You have not won it. Absolutely, you have not won it. You might win it eventually, but you have not won it. He's struggling in year 2.
Yeah, and
You've struggled in both years.
you've struggled both years, and this year, you doing that after you've had 2 tough losses. It's just, ugh.
Yeah.
Boomer Sooner, bitch. Though I guess Lincoln Riley's probably like, oh my God, what did I? It's like a crazy ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. All right.
They did it twice. There's 2 videos that came. There's threaded. Like they did it when he came into the tunnel and out. The same woman.
All right, Jack, if you could go anywhere in the country this weekend, where would you go?
I'm going to Oregon State, Washington. We discussed this game earlier, so no need to get too far into the weeds, into the details. But this game is going to be phenomenal. Corvallis, right? Corvallis.
Corvallis, yeah.
A beautiful, beautiful town, I think.
I'm sure it is.
I want to go.
Pacific Northwest is beautiful. It has its own type of beauty, but it is an absolutely stunning part of this country. So I assume Corvallis is like the rest of Oregon and is quite beautiful. And that is
Its own type of beauty.
What?
That's like its own type of beauty.
Yeah,
I
it
think
looks
that's like backhanded.
the Pacific Northwest looks like the Pacific Northwest and the Pacific Northwest alone. It does not look like the Northeast. It doesn't look like the Midwest. It doesn't look like the South. Whereas outside of the temperature, if you're like in North Alabama or southern Wisconsin, not a whole lot of difference there. Not like you could fool me. Pacific Northwest, it is unmistakable that you are in the Pacific Northwest. I meant it as a compliment.
Fair.
And that is the answer. It's Corvallis. You have a Washington team who will be an underdog to a very good Oregon State team. You have an Oregon State team who is getting shit on by that conference, by those teams, and can fuck Washington out the door. You have a quarterback going for the Heisman Trophy. Everything is in the mix here. This is a fascinating game from all angles. It's Oregon State, Washington. Jack, who would you put on upset alert?
I am putting Missouri on upset alert. Against Florida.
Kind of like it.
You just had a huge win.
Mm-hmm.
Florida's proven they are bipolar. You don't know what you're going to get from them. Missouri's definitely the better team. However, who knows? Maybe Florida goes in there and just is. I think Florida destroyed Mizzou last year, if I recall correctly. Or did Mizzou destroy them?
I thought Mizzou beat them last year, correct? You're thinking of
Yeah,
South
they
Carolina
did.
that Florida destroyed?
That's maybe what it is. And so Florida, they have a talented team. We know that. So what if they show up and Mizzou's kind of flat? So I'm putting Mizzou on upset alert.
Katie, who you got on upset alert?
I don't know if I fully believe it versus just really want to see it happen for the story. I want to see UCLA beat USC. Probably could happen with their defense, but just knowing Chip Kelly's on the way out and his last kind of fuck you to USC in the Pac-12,
Yeah.
I think that'd be fantastic.
So I have to know now. I have to go back and find out what Florida, Missouri did last year. Sorry. Sorry.
Florida won 24-17 against
See, exactly. It was a close game. Florida won 24-17. Everybody knows that. Okay. Now, upset alert. Upset alert. Upset alert does not mean this team is going to get beat. What upset alert is, what it means is you better watch out because the spot is interesting because you could get beat. And Oregon is a team who over the last 5 to 10 years kind of made a habit of running out to the playoff position and then losing an inexplicable game. I remember when they beat Ohio State on the road a couple years ago. Then they lost to a bad Stanford team. I remember them losing their undefeated season another year, or maybe it was a one-loss season, to Arizona State. Well, guess where they are this week? They're in the desert. They're playing Arizona State. Arizona State's 3-7, which means they suck, right? They're not that bad. They have been very competitive in games. They're bad. What are you laughing at?
I think they stink.
Okay. Exactly.
They're good for 3-7.
They have I think they have competed at a higher level than you think Arizona State would have competed this year. I think
last week they lose, or 2 weeks ago, lose 55-3 to
Utah. To Utah, I believe. But
yeah,
Arizona State, what was the Washington score? Arizona State competed with Washington. They beat UCLA.
Yes,
they ended Chip Kelly last week. They won 17-7. They lost 55-3 to Utah. They beat Washington State 38-27. They lost 15-7 to Washington after a pick six. This team has competed. And Oregon has in its past lost games to bad teams to end their dreams.
You're not wrong.
All I'm saying is, if you look forward to Washington in a few weeks, if you look forward to Oregon State next week, this trip to the desert is fraught with peril. That's all I'm saying. Oregon's on upset alert. I don't know. I don't think they're going to lose. But goddamn, this fits the bill of an Oregon loss that they've had in the past.
I have another upset alert.
Yep. Good, because I have one too. I'm glad you did that.
Is it in the Midwest?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think Texas needs to be careful.
I think Texas needs to be careful at Iowa State.
And also, if you were just talking about Arizona State and how the Oregon's ran into some issues, there's been some weird games in Iowa City, right? Ames. Sorry, Iowa State fans and Iowa fans. I know that's very personal to mix them up. I don't know why I always do, but in Ames, Iowa, obviously the Brandon Weeden Oklahoma State game of like a decade ago.
Yeah.
And that's a weird stadium city. They come out with the little dinosaurs and those costumes. And Texas, 7.5 points. Iowa State's been pretty good. 7.5 point favorites. I know Quinn Ewers he's going to play, right?
Theoretically, yeah.
If he plays or doesn't play, I still, even if he plays, I'm putting them on upset alert. You better be careful, Texas.
All right, one more. I'm doing one more upset alert.
Wait, before we move on. With Quinn Ewers, I'm talking about Texas. Quinn Ewers might be coming back. Malik Murphy, we assume, is going to transfer. Quinn versus Arch Manning.
This is a good point from Katie. I'm glad you brought this up. Did you see that, Brandon? When Katie tweeted it out, and I was like, what the fuck?
It's not a done deal, but it seems like it's leaning.
90%.
Yeah.
And I was Quinn coming back. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Do you think it actually happens, or is this a?
I guess I always just assumed he was going, but it's a quarterback-heavy class, and you could wait and kind of be the star of next year's class. I think is presumably what his thought process would be, but I do think it jams up everything. It jams up everything about the pipeline there. Like you would have thought. Even if it was Malik Murphy, you thought you handed off to Arch Manning or Malik Murphy next year. Now it just jams everything up. If I'm Arch, do I want to wait another year? If I'm Malik Murphy, I don't know if I want to wait another year. So it changes everything as far as that portal goes for them.
Also, you can't let Arch Manning leave Texas.
Do you think they would tell Quinn, no, you're leaving?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. What is this
it's
clip?
Weird.
I don't want to deal with Ole Miss fans today. We just put a clip of Lane Kiffin being successful at A&M. Did I say he's gonna leave?
No, I say hypothetically. Do you want it down?
Nah, I don't want to deal with that one. Take that one down if you can, or I can do it. You want me to do it?
I got it. No. I will do it.
You see, Jack always didn't mind when I did that. You don't like when I do that, huh?
I just know. Just tell me when you do it.
Okay. Jack,
I didn't mind. I would always just see it and just be like, "Oh, he deleted it."
Yeah, Jack would put up a clip because that's why I keep the password. So if I see something I don't like, I just go change it.
No,
I'm okay with you deleting. Just let me know because I will genuinely think I have a tracking system for where I put what. I will think I forgot to do something and then I'll go put it back up. So I genuinely just tell me so I don't on my own accord put it back up thinking I didn't put it up to begin with.
I got one more upset alert.
Tell me it.
You're going to think I'm crazy.
Oh no.
I love it.
But no, it's reasonable. Bad slates are good games. Sorry, keep going.
I
You're
think
crazy.
Maryland?
no. We already talked about the game. I think it's the Georgia Bulldogs.
Okay, yeah.
I think after they have not had to travel out of Athens and play tough games this year. I gotta pull up their exact schedule. I know they went to Auburn. They went to Vanderbilt. Like they went to where did they go?
Where
Kentucky?
else did they go?
They go to
They
Kentucky.
went to at Auburn, at Vanderbilt, at Tennessee, then at Georgia Tech.
Right. Well, they had to have another one in the SEC.
8 home
right?
games. No, 8 home games.
Oh, that's right. So they had 5. No, they had 4 home games, a neutral site against Florida, and then 3 road games in the SEC this year. Okay, which means they've gone to Vanderbilt, they've gone to Auburn, 2 terrible teams. Now they go to a team with life. This is the first time Carson Beck has had to go on the road and face the combination of good team and a hostile environment. He faced a hostile environment at Auburn, but not a good team, and they almost lost that game. Now you're going on the road. You just got ranked number 1. Everything's going in the right direction. You just killed Missouri. You killed Ole Miss at home. You got to go do it on the road? This is a lot trickier spot than everybody thinks. I think they better be on upset alert here in Georgia. That's all.
And this is when they say it's so hard to go undefeated, let alone 26-20. It's so hard because what happens if you're feeling flat and then the other team has this amazing game and then you're down 2 touchdowns? The crowd is so loud and you are just like, we got to do this again. I'm not saying they're going to do that. That's why the coaching is so impressive. But you're right, Brandon. They have to be on their A game. They can't bring their B game. They can't bring. They could probably bring their B game and squeak it out. But if they played like they played against Auburn, I think they lose.
Correct. If they dick around like that, they get beat. Period. Okay. If you could see one player this weekend, Katie Stats, who are you going to see?
I want to see J.J. McCarthy. I want to see if he throws the ball. I don't think Maryland is going to be that hard to throw it on Maryland, but if he doesn't throw it, then it has to be an injury, right? It can't be some big brain. I mean, I wouldn't put it past it. It's Michigan, Ohio State. It couldn't be some big brain not putting anything on film. I just want it, is he going to throw it? Is he going to run it? I don't know.
Jack, one player this week. Who are you going to see?
I'm going to go and see my boy DJ Uiagalelei. This is a legacy game. And then also in the same game, I get to see Michael Penix. I think that's a great quarterback matchup.
Yeah, no, that's super cool that you took both quarterbacks from that game.
Brandon Walker, who's your under-the-radar player or one player to see?
I think it's Michael Penix. You are undefeated. You are in the Heisman race. Your team has a national title riding on this. You're going on the road. It's going to be tough. It's going to be loud. You are now an underdog. All right, if you're a Heisman caliber quarterback, you go win this game, period. You go win it. You pick your team up. You say, fuck it, guys. Let's go do this. That's what Michael Penix has in front of him. If he does it, look out. But if he doesn't, the Pac-12 is hanging on by a thread in this national title race. All right, let's see. One more thing before we a couple more things before we get out of here. Have you ever found it all too easy to pack on an extra 15 pounds during football season? I'm going to go ahead and look at the camera and say, yes, I have found that. Eating healthy, that's a whole different ballgame, but with Flex Pro meals, it doesn't have to be a challenge anymore. Why? Because you can have the new delicious gourmet Flex Pro meals delivered right to your doorstep tomorrow, all for just $4.99 when you use the code BARSTOOL. Yes, you heard that right. Gourmet meals, fully prepared, ready to enjoy for $4.99 with code BARSTOOL at flexpromeals.com. Let's face it, you probably spend more than that at the grocery store, not to mention the hour you'd waste in the kitchen. Honestly, it wouldn't taste as good. Here's the kicker. If you're looking to shed some pounds, it's not exactly rocket science. The key is in what you eat. And here's the reality check. The problem isn't eating healthy food. That part is actually pretty simple. They deliver meals right to your doorstep. Running out of gas, Katie. I'm running out of gas. So you don't have to.
Want me to take over?
No, I got it. You don't have to worry about prep or shopping. The hard work is already done. Just heat up and savor a gourmet protein-packed meal. Flex Pro meals. Do yourself a favor and make life a bit easier. Treat yourself to a $4.99 gourmet meal. Just head over to flexpromeals.com and And don't forget to use the code Barstool. That's flexpromeals.com. Code Barstool. Don't wait. Take action now. All right.
One last question. I was just looking at the Big 12 standings. If you're Texas, would you rather play Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship or Oklahoma State?
I think I'd like to think they're competitors. I'd like to think they're dogs.
Okay.
I'd like to think they would rather have Oklahoma.
And I think Oklahoma may even help. Like, let's say there's a scenario where it's them against Oregon.
Yeah.
I think theoretically they get in over Oregon. But if, let's say Georgia beats Alabama.
Yeah.
And Oregon, and then it comes down to Georgia, Florida State,
Michigan
/ Ohio State.
Yeah.
And then it's Oregon versus Texas. I think avenging their loss against Oklahoma will help them.
Not just avenging the loss, but at that point, Oklahoma will be 10-2. Like, they would be the 10-2 Oklahoma team, and they already have the win over Alabama, so that strengthens the resume a lot. And name value, beating Oklahoma is more valuable than beating Oklahoma State. Sorry, Cowboys, that's the truth. It just is what it is. And also, just from a competitive standpoint, when they beat me in Dallas, it was their Super Bowl. They put out 10-minute videos. They had speeches about Oklahoma fearing Texas. Fuck you.
Yep.
Come back and get it again. That's what I would say if I'm the Texas Longhorns. I'm dying to play Oklahoma again.
Yeah, if you want to, let's do it again. Like, let's run it back.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you lose a video game and it's like, oh, you think you're no, we're running it back.
Ain't nobody leaving. Ain't nobody leaving.
Yeah, we are not leaving.
Sit back down.
Sit back down.
All right. The last one is the under the radar game of the week. Jack, do you have one?
Kansas State. Kansas hasn't beaten Kansas State in what? I think. Do you know, Katie? Could you look it up on Winsipedia for me as I'm talking? I know this is the Rico Bosco game. 14 straight wins for Kansas State. This is the best Kansas team. I know they lost last week to Texas Tech. They were kind of down. Are they down Bean again? Is Jaden Daniels playing?
I haven't heard any updates. I assume it's the same.
Which was tough for Kansas. Kansas State, can they take care of business? This is a hateful game. They don't like each other, obviously, and I know both the schools are kind of focused on basketball right now, at least Kansas more so.
I also think that this is Kansas's last game in the booth. I'm doing a win shirt for Kansas, and it's about the booth. I think they're getting a new stadium this year.
They are?
I think so. At least the kids are very misinformed.
I would believe them.
Yeah. So, memorabilia.
All right, Katie, you're
moving stadiums. What the fuck?
Katie, you're under the radar game.
It's under the radar, I think, from a national scale. People are focused on Oregon and Washington, Oregon State. Plus, it's on the Pac-12, so no one's going to be able to watch it. And I really want to watch it. Utah, Arizona. I know Arizona's ranked, and not like Brandon earlier, the episode said he was very excited for it. I think, yes, even though they are ranked above them, if Arizona beats Utah, they're both going to the Big 12. It's just not, one season's not enough for a shifting of power, but I think it'll be that's like okay, Arizona, this is not a fluke. You're consistently winning. Credit to you.
You gonna ask me?
Brandon Walker, what is your under the radar game?
Watch this ultimate yet correct cop-out, Katie.
Oh, no.
I'm just going to take this Saturday as the under-the-radar game because the SEC, by and large, is taking the week off. The other contenders outside of Washington are pretty much taking the week off. You know, Texas is got a little trip, but Michigan is going to Maryland. Ohio State not playing much here. They're playing Minnesota. There's not a whole lot in the manner of shaping the playoff and the overall conversation outside of a couple games. That being said, when you take your eye off the ball in college football, that's when it throws you the biggest curveball. When we start putting together our playoff 4 and our 5 and 6, there's always a weekend in November that just changes every fucking thing. And I think that could be this weekend. I think there's some teams out there that have a chance to fuck somebody, and I think this could be that kind of Saturday. That is what I think. And is that a cop-out? Yes. Is it correct? Also, yes.
I don't think it's that
I have a
bad.
quick question.
Yeah.
This is the last one, then we'll get out of here. We were talking about Boise State. The San Diego State job is also open now. Brady Hoke is retiring. What's the better job?
Wow.
I think it may be San Diego State.
I think
They
it might
have
be
a
San
new-
Diego. San Diego State, by the way, probably doesn't get enough credit because from an overall athletic department standpoint, they're just excellent, and they've been excellent for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, they made the fucking national championship
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, they're
Like they produced one of the best players in NBA history with Kawhi Leonard. Like, I mean, unbelievable.
not to mention all the studs they've produced on the football field. You know, your
unbelievable. Yeah.
they are an absolute. Yeah, it's San Diego, and plus, I bet Boise, Idaho is beautiful and wonderful, but San
Yeah.
Diego's probably the best place in America to live.
San Diego is like, I went there when I was 11, and I still think about it.
You're right.
The best place?
Yes, no, San Diego may
San-
be the best place to live in
Really?
America.
San
I've never
Diego
been
is
to
I am comfortable saying San Diego is the best place to live in America.
I don't even think that's a crazy thing to say.
Go
I've never
fuck
been, so I
yourself,
know.
San Diego.
Yeah. All right, that's the show.
Yeah. All right, that's the show. So we'll be back Saturday night to recap all the stuff. And Casey will be back, and then we get into rivalry.
And then
weeks.
we have
It's going to be chaos.
Yep, we'll figure
very
it all
excited.
out. So that is Unnecessary Roughness.